beating your gums and sound the attack.
All right, hello, and welcome to another episode of the We Got the Chocolate podcast. This is episode number 48. I'm one of your co-hosts, Lee.
I'm also a co-host, Mitchell. How's it going?
And I'm Sam. Hey, everyone.
Magnificent. Now, guys, here on the We Got the Chocolates podcast, we're about striving for wins, but occasionally missing, you would say. Our conversations are often centered around sport. We have played for years and have accumulated plenty of stories to share. We interview guests, we speak to listeners, we have plenty of fun along the way. So if you are looking for some entertainment and some comedic value, stick around. We have got plenty to offer. Here's the song on display, guys. It's been in the background.
Sounds very motivational.
Yeah.
Actually, quite like this one.
Could be taking the cake for mine.
Really?
Yeah.
It's very tough to get a positive review out of you. But Alchemy Chai Latte I'm on tonight. How's that gone for you?
Well, that hasn't gone well for me because I've had a turmeric latte, but that's gone well for me. I've smashed through all the mango smoothies, so yeah, back on the latte beverages now, but yeah, still happy.
Fantastic.
I've gone berry smoothie. I was on banana last week, so I'm going to try and mix it up and change this week.
Did you get a bit more of the smoothie
Definitely
ingredient in there this
followed
time?
the instructions this time. Yeah.
Thanks,
Well done, because that glass of milk you had last week was only acceptable on Christmas Eve. Fantastic. Now, how's you got to change your microphone over there, which you've been banging around and really struggling with the technique for?
Yeah, it's different. Not used to not having the autobiographies holding up my stand in front of me. So it's good to have a proper stand that's the right height. Hopefully I can use it well.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we will get straight into it then, I believe. Now, a couple of things that are probably exciting for our listeners tonight. I mean, it's a tough episode for me on the buttons, as per usual, so just be aware of that. There's a small disclaimer that we have to make. But Skin, the reason that it'll be slightly different is because we've actually been out in the field. You've been in charge of this, really, in terms of capturing some audio from a couple of life experiences we've had.
Yeah, I wouldn't give me that much credit, but yeah, I've been involved, and we went for a kick of the football with our friend Rory, who I think's been on an episode quite a while ago now, I think.
Episode 34,
okay,
from memory.
all right, thank
Jeez,
you.
I know them well.
Yeah, you've done well there. But anyway, he's a Pommy, and obviously he's a fan of soccer or football, I should say.
Yeah, can you stop using those interchangeably? Just commit to one that you're going to say. When we say football, we mean soccer for people in Australia. Correct. Unless you're listening in England, and when we say football, we mean football.
Yes. I'm sorry, I play soccer. I refuse to say football. Soccer.
Hazard's never going to get on board with that.
Defiant. But anyway, so we went for a kick. He sort of put us through our paces a little bit. We had a few challenges and stuff, and I don't know, we've just made a little bit of a contest about it. We've got plenty of footage, so hopefully we'll be seeing that sort of somewhere over the socials in the next couple of weeks. But we thought we would take the chance to get a little bit of the audio in the episode as well. So I've trawled through and found what I thought were some humorous parts. I think it starts off with a little chat you had with Bays, who snuck in there early doors.
There it is.
There, probably out at deep square leg there, just fell over another one. yeah, that's right. No, we weren't really here to talk about your goalkeeping, although it's good. That hasn't looked amazing thus far. No. We had a chat on podcast episode 45, Bays, about your exciting news, obviously representing the We Got the Chocolates team with that hat, which is fantastic. But the engagement, tell us the story, how'd it go down, any nerves, any issues, or flawless plan? A few nerves. Pretty flawless plan, though. Everything went pretty well. Went with a surprise option, so really went hard with the surprise option. Surprised Jess, kind of set up a picnic that was meant to be for Mum for Mother's Day that was 4 months ago, but yeah, not being for Jess, and that worked, so couldn't have gone better. Absolutely stoked, that's for sure.
Brilliant. Now, you're not sticking with us for this afternoon, but we have got some trick shots with Rory, who you'll see over there. If I can get our cameraman, Scotty the cameraman, to just point over there. There he is. Got some trick shots with Rory this afternoon. Who are you backing to be the most skillful footballer in terms of the We Got the Chocolates team?
Lethal, I'm backing you in there, mate. No bias. I just think, I've watched about 10 minutes of penalties. Skins will put one in the 50-metre pool, the basketball courts, and the back of my car. So he doesn't look great. Lethal, you got a couple on target, so I'll go with you.
Lovely, Bass. Always a pleasure chatting, mate. Have a great afternoon.
Yeah, right. So I've copped a little bit of spray there, and rightfully so, if I remember correctly. My warm-up wasn't very strong.
In fairness, hadn't arrived at that point, and I'm the one that gets blown up at about being late here all the time. Has rocked in 40 minutes after the designated start time. I mean, there was some rumour about him actually coaching a kid or something, but surely priorities.
Yeah, you would think.
However, for the whole week beforehand, you knew that I was going to be that time. I was always going to be later than the designated time. So,
There was some confusion, I reckon.
but I did miss the warm up, so that
Yeah.
didn't help me out in the actual competition, did it?
No, but we fumbled around for so long that you got there for the first trick anyways. And the first trick was a little crossbar challenge. And after Baz's raving review of Lee's penalty shootouts, here is how it went for him.
I think in today's industry that's called over. None from one.
I'm not convinced that that's the regular height when I practice.
Yeah, because all the goals look different sizes, don't they?
I know when I was training in Brazil, it was, I think, different height.
Yeah, well, you've got 4 more kicks to figure out the height, so
I'll get it, obviously. I just need to count.
it's the big white thing, yeah?
White thing, here we go. You'd rather go over than under from what I've heard.
Just hit it.
Sure that logic works.
Ooh, not bad, close. None from 2 though. 3 attempts left. Can we just get a little assessment after 2 goes?
Well, I mean, the first one I wasn't overly pleased with. Second one I thought was in for all money. I was probably actually looking to celebrate right there. So this one will be on.
Jeez, I'm breathing heavily.
Yeah, the crowd's waiting in anticipation. Wow, can we get that assessment of that, please? No, none from 5.
None from 5, yeah. I mean, it's not the worst. Actually, it is.
It is. It is.
Yeah, no, that sucks.
Yeah, so obviously I've cut out a little bit there. So you were none from 2 and very confident that your third one was going in. But obviously,
I like how you've just let everyone know that I just went straight from none from 2. Did not improve at all. Just none from 5.
None from 5.
Yeah.
So that was that. And then obviously Haz and I had a crack at the crossbar challenge as well, but sort of didn't offer quite as much banter. But Rory was quick to give me a spray when we moved on to the header and volley challenge. So
Is that this one?
yeah, I think that should be this one.
Skinnell's up. Let's see where he goes. Oh, it's a diving header and it's in. It's a 2 point straight up. And all my money was in him missing that on the dive. Not missing the target, missing the ball.
That was a good effort.
We should probably just let people know that the reason Rory sounds like a walrus in here is because he's mic'd up whilst kicking the balls to us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's fairly
He's not
involved
just
in the
standing there as
activity.
a commentator because I'm just listening back to it going, jeez, he is panting. But he probably actually worked just as hard as us.
Chasing after the
correct.
balls that we missed the goals from.
Doing that crossbar. But we didn't go to any more of the crossbar challenge, but we had 15,000 sail over the bar. We got 5 shots each, didn't hit. Then I reckon we had another 6 shots each before someone finally hit. And by someone, I think you know who I mean.
Yeah, it was lethal
You
that
got-
finally got the first hit.
And you got a controversial amount of bonus points for hitting.
How was that worth
It was well designated. Well, it's the hardest one, apparently. It took us 26 goes to get it.
Okay.
All right, what do we got now? Is this still...
I think Rory keeps throwing me for a bit longer.
He's volleyed it in. He's gone left peg on the stretch. He's 3 points out of 4 so far.
Is that the one off your kneecap?
That's this one. That was a compliment, actually. Sorry.
How has he kneed that in? He's kneed that in on the half volley. Roger, can you just talk me through the one that bounced, you kneed it in, when in the opposite side you're intending?
Yeah, I don't know, just sort of didn't go how I planned, but reacted quite well. I thought, kept things under control, just made use of the shin bone and all good.
Yeah, great strikers claim them all. Well done.
Exactly. I am a great striker.
Great striker. Oh, dear. All right, do I keep playing this?
Yeah, the next one should be, I think we just went to a pretty standard penalty shootout, and I think this should be a little comment on your goalkeeping skills, Lethal.
Oh, no.
He's 2 points from 2. Horrendous keeping.
Has Lethal got on the Sydney Harbour Bridge?
Yeah, I think he has. He's given us the whole goal to aim at and then dived back over the ball.
Perfect. Well done. I would have thought you'd be all right with the goalkeeping, given you.
I think it's actually wicket keeping that I do.
But I thought there'd be some correlation, but clearly not.
That exact one, I dived the wrong way and then back over the top of the
Yeah,
ball.
you
Has
really-
kicked it at exactly where I started. If I didn't move a muscle, I would have saved it.
Correct. And then, so one of the rules in the penalty shootout, we had to take, I think it was 2 off your non-preferred foot. And mine was, like, after I'd been shocking on the left foot all day, my right foot was surprisingly okay. So I made a ridiculous comment here, which Rory was quick to pick up on.
Okay, here we go.
It's a real good strike on the weak foot.
I reckon I'll kick that better than I'll kick a left foot hit.
I mean, there's no requirements that you have to kick your last 3 with your strong foot. If you want to do all 5 in your weak foot,
That's true. I'll have a dabble at the left foot, see how we go. If it's a stinker, I'm going back to the right.
he'll have a dabble with his strong foot, he said.
I'm not
you,
confident in it.
And then we've already mentioned our inability to hit the crossbar. I kicked about 19 over the top, and another spray from Rory, of course.
Here we go.
It's gone over again. It's gone over again. Maybe we'll do rugby next week with the Week at the Chocks team. Skin will be favourite.
Correct. And then we were trying to just kick normal goals. After half an hour of missing the crossbar, Haz and I hit the crossbar flush twice.
Oh, perfect.
And when we wanted the crossbar half an hour ago, we finally got it.
Oh my God.
So that was infuriating.
I don't know what to say.
He's baffled.
We spent half an hour trying to hit that crossbar earlier.
Perfect. And then I'll have to give it away a little bit. I guess Lee ended up winning the challenge on the day, and had a very humble interview at the end of it all.
That's post the goal where it's like sudden death.
Yeah.
Me and Haz in the shootout, because we finished on equal points. And me and Haz are in a shootout here. And I think it went I missed. No, I got, what the heck happened? No, Haz took it first. I saved it. Then I missed, hit the goalpost.
Yeah, that's right.
Then Haz missed again, and then I finally scored.
And he passed it in. He's off. He's celebrating the shirts off, so he get his yellow card at the end. Some cartwheels. As you can see, the fans, they've been stunned to silence. Is that the result the people wanted? I'm not so sure, but it's the result we've got. Let's get some live reaction from our champion.
Well, you're looking at a pretty ordinary body. It's the first thing to note, but secondly, pinpoint accuracy, just like we worked on throughout the day. Probably felt like I'd easily been best on ground, so I think it's a fitting result.
That's what I was going to say. It was seesawing throughout the whole competition. Do you think you were a deserving winner?
Well, I'd like to think so. There were definitely elements where I was a little bit poor, but obviously played to my strengths. Knew that penalties, dizzy penalties particularly, was always going to be my strong point, because I've sort of spent a great deal of my life with practicing that sort of element with too much of those beverages occasionally. So, worked quite well, I thought.
Perfect.
Like we didn't do a fitness challenge. Through that time after just kicking goals.
That's from one penalty and a quick run.
Not ideal.
These microphones, they pick up everything. That must have been inside my body, I think. It's in the lungs. Now, what have you got left for skin?
Finally, I just wanted to finish with a little compilation, just giving an idea of
this is our highlights.
Our raw reactions to our own kicks.
There we go.
Oh, no.
Oh no. No. Skin! Skittle! Oh, gosh, straight at him. Oh. No! No!
And just,
So, yeah,
guys, there's no trick. There's no tricks in there. They are all different samples.
Make sure you follow us on social media so you can check out the full video when it comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfect. Well, you've worked your way through, so that shouldn't be far away now, should it?
I guess not. It should be all over it, really.
No, I'll be out tomorrow.
I guess that's not really the top of news at the moment in world sport or even Australian sport. There is a few other topics that are high on the list on TV and on the radio if you've been listening. So one of those is coronavirus and how that's affecting sport in Australia at the moment. And there's been some developments in the AFL lately, hasn't there, guys?
Yeah, well, pretty big news across the weekend, really. Probably something that we sort of half expected, but we're still quite shocked to hear, given obviously all of the precautions that have been taken in order to make sure that both NRL and AFL can get back on our screens and even sort of taking steps towards starting to get some fans back to games now, certainly in Queensland this weekend. But obviously in Victoria, I think I'm right in saying, Skin, you're usually over these stats, but they've had sort of a spike in confirmed corona cases over the last couple of days, up to 125 now, I believe, active cases in Victoria, which is probably not sort of the trend that we've been used to seeing over the last couple of weeks. But more concerning, I guess, for sport, which is probably where we focus a great deal of our attention, is that one of those active cases is Connor McKenna from Essendon Football Club, and he did return indeed a positive, I guess, COVID-19 test across the weekend, which meant that game that they were going to play against Melbourne was postponed. was not played at all. It does mean that currently the players are in complete quarantine, but they're a little bit unsure of sort of how many players do need to quarantine, how many players came in contact with him when he was active. But the AFL, as a result, has obviously moved to ban contact training in full group sessions, so no contact training at all, at least for the next 4 weeks. So they're sort of trying to take every possible precaution that they can, I guess. But it was a little bit of a shock, I guess, just because of the trend that we have been seeing over the last couple of weeks, where it's almost felt like, okay, coronavirus is going. That's probably the sense of, I guess, security that we've loved ourselves into. So that was a real stark contrast and a real snap back to reality, I think.
At the time of recording here, they're checking to make sure it's not a false positive. I believe they're hoping it's not actually. He doesn't actually have it because he has no symptoms, so they're hoping that it was a incorrect test result. But
that's right.
We'll wait and see.
Yeah, that's the big thing, the no symptoms thing. I mean, we've heard that a lot throughout. Anyone that has been slightly educated about coronavirus would know that often if you're in probably your youth and in your prime health, then you're actually not experiencing any symptoms, which can in fact make it a little bit scarier, really. The fact that you could be carrying it without having any clue whatsoever.
Well, we're not experts, so we probably can't talk on that topic too much longer, but there is another sport that it's affecting at the moment, and Novak Djokovic and other tennis players, such as Nick Kyrgios, have come out saying they aren't so keen to be involved in the US Open if it goes ahead this year, simply due to the high hoops that organisers are making them jump through to play. These include 14 days of isolation when they get to America, restricted access to training facilities, and staying in a hotel during the tournament if they're not playing actually games at the time, among other rules. And this is despite the fact that Novak was one of the few professional players who were recently involved in an exhibition event in Serbia. These players played in front of packed stadiums. They were sharing microphones, hugging each other. So obviously a few differing regulations between those two countries when it comes to the sporting events. But since I actually wrote that part, there's been more news come out that Gregor Dimitrov and Borna Koric, I believe is his name, who are competing at the same event, have since tested positive to coronavirus. And therefore, so everyone involved, including Novak, has had to get emergency COVID-19 tests, which we're still awaiting the results of.
Right, okay.
Oh, yeah, it's going crazy. I mean, and that's the same for like all of those Essendon players today. Actually, they all got enforced COVID tests as well, so they're waiting for those results back tonight. So it's sort of the fear of the unknown, I guess. Is you're like, one person gets it, and then it's pandemonium to make sure that no one else has. So it's causing some outrage. I know John Millman, who we've had on the podcast, he's always been pretty against going to the US Open in particular. He was fairly outspoken about that, wasn't he? Then I know the other person that blew up massively this week was Dylan Alcott. Did you see? Did you see his? Obviously, they've made the decision to not have the wheelchair competition at the US Open, and he was really not impressed by that as well. So it's all happening. It's causing plenty of controversy across the world. Okay, that was slightly serious, so probably only makes sense that we need to go back to being idiots for a bit.
Yeah, get back in the comfort zone.
Back in the comfort zone. Again, I'm tested on the buttons here, everyone. But our next event, I guess, that we had over the last couple of weeks, we've been busy on the weekend, Skin, trying to pump out some content here. Just get a little bit of audio captured away from our normal studio, even though it is a remarkably pretty studio now.
Yeah, stoked with the setup.
Yeah, it's nice to. It is nice to just capture some things on different areas as well, different platforms. And so this was a brainchild of Yana. Everyone will be familiar with sort of Yarns with Yarns. You'll know her from like this type of jingle. Na na. Yeah, na, na, na. I won't play the full thing because we don't actually have her on tonight. But this was a brainchild from her. Was basically that we were going to do one of those sort of bad dad jokes videos, right, where people react and you're trying to force the opposition to laugh, essentially, aren't you? That's how you describe the game. So it was We Got the Chocolates versus the Ring-Ins, which was Matt Gillum, Yana Gillum, Rory Smith.
Yep.
They were the Ring-Ins. And again, there is some video that will be floating around for that. But essentially, in essence of the game, you've got to tell the best/worst possible jokes that you can to make sure that you get a reaction or a laugh from the other team. First team to 10 laughs wins, right? You're allowed to smile, but if you hold it together, that's fine. But as soon as there's any sort of, I guess, exporting air out of your lungs, any sort of sniff, you are done. That is a laugh and you've given it up. Now, you'll hear that some of the reasons we laugh are just ludicrous. I'll play that audio for you now. What do you call a guy with a hamster stuck in each ear?
What?
Anything you want. He can't hear you.
This one I picked specifically for you.
Okay.
What are 100 rabbits hopping backwards called? A receding hairline. Why do ducks have tail feathers?
Why?
To cover their butt quacks.
So you will notice at this point we've had one substitution already. Has stepped in, who was the hardest man to break ever. But there has been no laughs whatsoever. Not one. Not even something that looked like a laugh at this point. So you can see that the video going to varying levels of success at this point.
Right.
What's Forrest Gump's password?
Has in his element.
One Forrest one.
Seems insecure.
Did you hear about the kidnapping at school? It's fine. He woke up.
Great execution.
Very well delivered. I was not expecting that one. So that's our first point.
So whoever stole my copy of Microsoft Office, I will find you. You have my word.
Hat's gone. I've got 2 in a row.
One more. Give me one more. Give me one more. One more. I told my sister she'd drawn her eyebrows on too high. She looked surprised.
Oh, I love that.
Rory's had some
Does
answers.
my wife think I'm a control freak? I haven't decided yet.
That's bad.
That's got you.
Bad.
That got you.
Rory and I got each other so much. I find it more funny staring at you while you're struggling not to laugh. I couldn't stand being in a wheelchair. You can just hear the build up.
Then you get him.
I can't hold it in while he's pissing himself laughing.
Got both, yeah.
So every time Mitch got a laugh, he also gave up a laugh.
What's the difference between a good joke and a bad joke? Timing.
What did the drummer call his twin daughters?
Not sure.
Anna 1, Anna 2.
You've got to hand it to blind prostitutes. Oh, Jesus. That is the longest
That whole
build-up.
time, I just
The longest build.
I've been better defending it. Did you hear about that guy who got hit over the head with a soft drink the other day? I've said the joke wrong, don't worry. I said it wrong.
Probably funnier.
I'll take the point and leave.
I'll be out as well. I asked my North Korean friend how it was over there. He said I can't complain. Controversial.
And the winning point.
Yeah, that got us over the line, didn't it?
That's right.
All right, into a bit of Supercoach news. Just a quick update in the NRL, and Lee and Mitch struggled again with 849 points. Quite poor for the week.
That sucks, doesn't it?
Lost to Cody's The Zingers. I think they would have lost to anyone though, really.
You know what's really annoying though is we drafted in Tamalolo, right? And then my whole mission was to make him captain, and then I forgot and left Victor Radley in as captain. Goodness knows why we even have Victor Radley, because the week before I thought we were choosing between Cameron Smith and Damien Cook, at hooker, and somehow we've ended up with Victor Radley. we've got real issues going on in our Supercoach NRL team.
I'd give you a spray, but I haven't even bothered looking to correct any of those issues.
I think that's the problem. I look at it half-assed, thinking Mitch might come back and fix it up.
Are you picking like a good / funny blokes team for your Supercoach? Victor's a very funny guy.
I don't know, I'm pretty sure the week that we put him in, he just scored like 110 or something.
Yeah.
And then I got confused because his average, like the funny thing about averages is you can go like 6, 8, 9, 140, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh man, this guy's average 70, we'll get him in. And he's cheaper, just get him in.
I'm not sure those stats quite work out what you just said then, but we'll go with that.
Yeah, trust me, Haz, that's why I average 80 with the bat.
Now, I didn't have a great week either. I got 1,013 points, so probably over 150 more than you. It was still a pretty poor week. But fortunately beat James's Mungindi Munters.
Oh, jeez. Speaking of controversial, interesting names, like it.
But in AFL, it's very different for you two. Liam Mitch's team scored 2,107 to beat Chris's the Lion Cubs and are killing it. You're coming 362nd overall.
Mm-hmm. We're actually freaks at AFL.
Unbelievable.
Our area of expertise has. Although I also haven't looked at that team either, so well done, Lethal.
It genuinely helps when you actually do choose the right person as captain and draft in the people you want, I've noticed. So that's been the real learning curve for me.
Right.
So I'm sort of using NRL to like practice my bad habits, and then AFL would just dominate.
And yeah, you may have been wondering how Lee and Mitch are doing so well in the AFL, but terribly in the NRL. And, I was confused too. So I did some investigating and found out that each week the boys have actually been drinking their Alchemy Australia drinks right before making changes to their AFL team.
Oh, that's why.
But haven't been able to find the time to make up a brew before making their trades and selecting reserves for their NRL team. So, boys, if you want to make up some ground in the NRL, don't forget to put in the extra effort and make up your Alchemy smoothie, chai, or superfood elixir before you do your NRL team.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, the week's pretty busy. The podcast doesn't run itself, Haz. We had to cut some corners somewhere,
Yeah. It was just the NRL team that missed out. Sorry, Hazel.
Yeah,
Maybe if we could sneak a little elixir to the actual players, that might help as well.
Although some of these players we picked are actually not even playing in the NRL.
And for anyone else out there wanting to order some of their own Alchemy products, they can visit alchemycordial.com.au and we'll get free delivery for orders over $40, but only for a limited time.
Now, guys, one segment that we have been running recently, and it's been quite ongoing, but the reason it's been ongoing is it's been a massive success, and that is the Tote 11 nominations, the tightest of all time. You will remember, just for a bit of history, if you're new here, welcome. But also, to give you some background, Haz is quite tight with his money. Things like stealing shampoos and conditioners from the hotels he stay in are a thing of his past, to be fair, but we never let those things go. So and then also we had Christian Welch on at one point who dobbed in one of his mates, said that he would rival Haz. So we started taking nominations for the tightest of all time. And we've got a few sort of big ones, a few sort of big names and teammates of Haz's along the way. We actually had one come in this week for Scott Prince, boys, out of nowhere. So that's quite interesting. Yep. So look forward to giving you a bit more detail about that if we're allowed. Haven't had that signed off yet. But we've had sort of plenty coming in from listeners as well, which is magnificent. A lot of these people we obviously know, which makes it quite funny. But there's been quite a few through the Speak Pipe on the website as well. So, and we do encourage you, if you ever get the chance, you should definitely get on the Speak Pipe at wegotthechocolates.com.au and go to the Contact Us page, and you can record one of these as well. The first one comes from Slater.
G'day guys, it's Slater Asnikar here. On behalf of Valleys, I'd like to nominate Jack Beath for your Tote 11.
Big listener of the show, Jack.
Jack's been likened actually by many at the club to Alan Harper off 2.5 Men. His unique talent involves disappearing from the pub when it's his turn to shout and not returning anyone's calls for the rest of the night. Definitely hasn't bought beers after the game, I don't think ever. And also likes rocking up on my doorstep whenever he knows that I'm cooking. So if you need someone to second the nomination, I'm sure Goaty will certainly agree with me on that one. Cheers, guys.
Goaty has mentioned that in the past, actually. We're happy with that one going in, Skin.
Yeah, perfect.
Valleys.
He was flying under the radar, but that's good.
Valleys turning against each other.
Yeah, it's great to see. Great to see. Keep that up for the season. Thanks, boys. Who was next? We also had one from Dan Cranich, Toombul.
Hi guys, thought I'd just offer something up for your tightest 11. Leading first grade all-rounder and Toombul first grade captain Preston White is known to sift through the recycling bins at Toombul after a club piss-up and get his 10-cent rebate on the pennies. He'll deny this, but it is absolutely true, 100% gospel.
Smart, very
Perfect.
smart.
It's good. I might take the chance, Lethal, to throw you under the bus and mention you've also got a big box out the back of our yard.
Oh, yeah.
All
I think
the
we've
big
actually
beer bottles that you've been collecting.
Yeah, we've actually put that on the story before. And then the funniest thing was that afternoon, after someone brought it up, I went down and actually cashed them in. And I was like, geez, I've been collecting these for like 6 months. Like, I'm going to be I was about to retire, I thought, with that level of money that I had from the stored up. Guess how much money I got? It was the most deflating experience ever. The lady came out and gave me my little receipt with cash. It's the only cash I've ever had. Not like Cash Hazlitt over there. And $23.05.
Perfect.
Honestly, I reckon I had 20,000 bottles.
I reckon
really not worth it.
I probably contributed 50 or 60 cents to that stash. So
yeah, you'll hit me up for it later. Okay, the next people that we had, guys, these are from Adelaide actually. Carl Micken, he's mentioned on the show a couple of times, but he's got one in as well. This is a great running battle. I might have to give you some context, but I'll play it first.
I'd like to nominate Dan Cullen, Test cricketer, 5 one-day internationals, played at West Torrens for about 8 years. Never saw him at the club past about 7 o'clock. Used to just do a smoke bomb and never buy beer. And Dennis Bryan's pretty happy to see the back of him, I think.
Okay. So just so you know, Dan Cullen, obviously anyone that's knows anything about cricket would probably have his poster on the wall, I'd say. He was on a few Weet-Bix cards at one stage as well. Daniel Cullen, off spinner, always had his sleeves up, went like this for those that are watching the video, and peroxide blonde hair, was bleached in his prime. But I shouldn't say in his prime, and then he came back and played for West Torrens, where I was playing cricket. I missed a stumping off him when Mark Cosgrove was batting. That he's I think that we needed 9 wickets and they needed 4 runs to win. So it was a real game-turning sort of stumping chance, which he's never let me forget. So I'll get him on to tell that story at some point. Dennis Bryan is the president of West Torrens. So Carl is saying that he's happy to see the back of him there. Now, where it gets quite interesting is that I don't know how, but Dan has obviously got wind of the fact that Carl was going to nominate him, and he's come with his own retort and got in as well.
Just want to nominate Carl the Duck Micken for the tightest of all time. The Duck is in reference to a former legend of the game for North Melbourne, Wayne Carey, and some off-field shenanigans that occurred, which is very similar to the King. I just want to nominate Carl. Every Saturday at a home game, we would bring out afternoon teas and put them on the table in the morning. And Dickie, the team manager, would have lollies and get the cordial ready.
Richard Williams.
There'd always be a big bowl of lollies. And then by lunchtime, there were no lollies left. And everyone was, after a few home games, we were always thinking, God, Dickie brings 10 bags. Where are all these lollies going? And then in the end, one of the boys set up a camera and caught Carl pinching some of a couple of bags of lollies every home game and stashing them in his ute. And then he'd proceed to put the lollies in his lunchbox with his sandwich every day, and he'd have a few milk bottles and a few little gummy bears and Allen snakes along with his sandwich. So I'd like to nominate Carl for the tightest of all time.
Perfect. Great nomination.
So what I love the most is that those two, so that is Dan, and in response to Carl, those two are just having a personal, individual debate on our podcast, and I'm all for that. I think there should be more of it.
I was going to ask, is it just a very personal issue, or is there actually any truth to either of those stories? If you haven't played with both of them.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of rumours at our club, and there was a lot of blaming people, which was fantastic. So I'd say there's elements of truth to both of those. I'm just not entirely sure of which camp you'd be staying in. I mean, I'll have to support Carl in that Dan we didn't see a lot of at the club, but when he was there, I mean, he was shouting people Maccas, and I mean, he was very, very generous, so that's hard. And I can support the element of Dan's nomination that we never had any lollies after the first drinks break. So there was definitely some sort of shenanigans going on with the lollies. So I'd love to get to the bottom of it, Skin, if you want to sort of do any further research for a Skin Stats segment.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Well, we're not debating who's tight with their time. It's tight with your money. And so I think I know which way I'd be leaning towards there.
Yeah. Good point. Okay. Well, classic Hazlitt. Perfect. All right. Okay, guys. We haven't got to do this segment for a while, but it's a real hit generally. This is probably the one that we were very well known for back in the day, early days of our podcasting career, which seems many moons ago now. It's the Social Sin Bin.
This is the Social Sin Bin. We gotta have this chat again. We found some people who got themselves in the deep end. Well, I stand inside, so we can let these fly. Go for 10 and revive.
I think the reason the Social Sin Bin is so successful is just the jingle gets you up and about.
Yeah, doesn't it? Bit of Jesse McCartney.
Skinner, you're taking the lead here, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll have a crack, see how we go. Feel free to jump in at any stage though, Lethal, if you've got something to say, has as well. So to start us off, obviously there's a fair bit going on in the world at the moment, and obviously plenty of people are commenting about that on social media. So we found a few AFL fans, I guess you'd say, or maybe
fans or ex-fans.
Ex-fans, I don't know,
Right.
sort of threatening to withdraw their membership from their club if their players are to take a knee in support of the Black Lives Matter protests over the weekend, which just, I don't know, I thought seemed like a rogue idea. And then so there were sort of plenty of those tweets going out, and obviously AFL clubs sort of responded to them, or like there was posts from the AFL talking about players doing that or posting photos of it, and then there were sort of millions of comments that just along the same lines.
Yeah, that's right.
So there were plenty of people that we could throw in there. But yeah, so the first example, someone has tagged the Freo Dockers saying, "I love my Dockers. I've left the 2020 membership with you, but if your boys get on one knee on Saturday, I'm out." So yeah, you really love your Dockers. Right. Someone's made a similar comment regarding their St Kilda membership, and I just like St Kilda's response. Basically, we're sorry you feel that way. You're welcome to contact the club on Monday, and we'll process your refund. So I feel like that's a pretty ideal response. Like we don't care. Like your $900 doesn't make a difference to us.
That's right. Well, I think that's kind of my point. Is like I just don't understand how people sit there at home and are so like arrogant that they're just like, "Oh, I'll tell you what will really teach the club for supporting black people. I'm withdrawing my $900 membership." Like, how are they going to survive ever financially? It's like, and like the worst thing is that they have this massive issue with players, speaking out about any other issue that's not football, right? So if it's not them playing the game, then it's like, why are we causing a scene? Like, don't speak out. But then this person got on Twitter to do the exact same thing, like to make it public and go, look, this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm a hero. If you guys do this, then I'm withdrawing my membership. Like, it's making a scene just in the other way anyway. So it makes no sense.
Yeah, no, exactly.
A few tote nominations there. We get which one of their $900 back.
Well, I'll tell you who's not getting a tote nomination though is funny enough, it's the guy like supports them during coronavirus. Goes, I've left my membership with you, but I tell you what, this will tip me over the edge. Guys getting on their knees for 35 seconds before the ball's bounced. I mean, that's it. I can't cope with that. But then someone from like Essendon Bombers fan basically saw the Freo Dockers reply, which said, "Sorry you feel that way, Miles, but we'll call you on Monday to make sure we process your request." And a Bombers fan tweeted back saying, "Look, I support Essendon, but I'm happy to pay for his memberships," and just replace them.
Really?
Yeah. So there was some reverse top nominations as well,
Okay.
which was quite impressive. And he wasn't the only one. There was also a Bulldogs fan that got on and said, "Look, I don't want to go to the games. I don't like you that much, but can I buy them and give them to a Fremantle person who actually might use them?" So there's some really cool things that came out of it as well, which was great to see. But also some obviously stinker comments that continued throughout that whole sort of week, Skinnerd, I guess, which you'll get onto.
Yeah, exactly. So then there was a post from Fox Footy about Collingwood and Richmond showing their support for the protests before the first bounce, and someone's commented, "Terrible, leave that crap to the lefties," which, yeah, I mean, just sort of, firstly, like football players are also people. They are allowed political opinions and views on things, and they have the right to protest, I guess. And to suggest that a football player can't make a statement about sort of politics, but I mean, I don't know what O'Reilly does for a job, but I imagine he's not a politician, so I don't see why it's his area of expertise any more than it is a football player. So what else did we have here? Not surprised with the AFL pandering to the leftist agenda. Leave the politics out of it. It's along a similar line.
Yeah, stop making sport political.
Yeah.
Like, it's not making it political.
I'm not sure it affects them too much.
It's just like, honestly, I think it's okay for people to support a movement. I don't think that's a huge deal. I don't think that's making sport political. There's obviously like a lot of Indigenous players that have played the game. That Fremantle, for example, got the most amount of Indigenous players that have ever played the game. So I don't think it's unreasonable for people to want to support that movement. Yeah. This started from something that happened in America, absolutely. But it's not that hard to educate yourself and go, this is the reason that they're doing it.
It's not like it's shortening the game or anything. I mean, coronavirus has shortened the game, but this the protest hasn't shortened the game, so they're not affecting the quality of AFL by doing it or anything like that.
Yeah, well, past that one and on to something more recent, actually, even Skin.
Yeah, correct. So I think it was just last night. So the Gold Coast Suns played the Adelaide Crows.
How good are the Gold Coast Suns?
Yeah, what is that all about?
What the heck? They've stunk for the last 15 years and now they're just gurus.
Yeah, suddenly
they have Matt Rowell. He's literally
that helps a lot.
Win the Brownlow, the Rising Star, and the Allan Border Medal. He's a freak.
Has anyone, just to clarify, is he actually right-footed or left-footed? Because he
what foot is it?
Genuinely.
No, he's a right-footed.
Okay, he kicked two proper snags yesterday.
It was ridiculous. He was like us in the trick shot video.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, so yeah, the Gold Coast Suns got up yesterday, and then a tweet came out, I think, maybe by the Gold Coast Suns, saying that Hugh Greenwood, who's now playing for the Gold Coast Suns, had almost as many clearances as the entire Adelaide team. I think he had 6 and Adelaide Crows had 7.
Yeah, that was from the AFL. Yeah,
was it from the AFL? Yeah. So Hughes decided to retweet that and tag Mark Risciuto.
Who was a freak of a player, just quietly, for Adelaide, but is now their head of football, I believe, or football manager. There's so many titles, I always get confused.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But anyway, so he's somehow involved in the Adelaide Crows, and he's made comments throughout the week that the Adelaide Crows dropped Hugh Greenwood at the end of last season because he was sort of not as young and fast, basically. And so
they kept getting told that their midfield was too slow, and so they panned him.
Yeah, exactly. So and then Hughes retweeted this tweet and tagged Mark Risciuto in it, saying, "Sheesh, if only I were younger and faster." Sort of just having a little slide dig at him, as you do, I suppose, up to him. Mark Risciuto's then commented back, just saying it. I don't know. I found his line of attack pretty strange. If you were younger and faster, you might have gotten more than 10 disposals.
Which is like questionable, given that you've just been beaten by a huge amount.
Yeah,
So I don't think he needed to get any more disposals to win the game.
No.
That's generally how we judge success, is by which team wins.
Yeah, correct. And I'd hate to be that guy, but if you're going to get into a biff on Twitter and sort of in the public eye, then you probably need to just check your spelling for me. I think he misspelled.
Especially when you're a media, like you're a person in the media.
Yeah.
Probably actually is important to proofread then and then.
Yeah, correct. So he spelled then as then, which just didn't help the argument. I think Hughes snaps back and had another go at him, but then obviously, I assume someone at the Gold Coast Suns has sort of gotten in contact with him. He's got a tap on the shoulder, and
it's the biggest backflip I've ever seen.
Then quickly put out a tweet not long later saying, just all a bit of banter, guys. No bad blood between us, sort of thing.
Yeah,
so it
that's
all
right.
came to a quick
It's
halt.
the classic, throw as many barbs as possible. And then, no, but I was just joking. Like, how'd you take offence to that?
Yeah.
Political correctness, eh?
Yeah, correct.
Right.
Yeah,
Can't say it anymore. It's a shame.
Yeah. But anyways, I think in summary, both of those guys probably have to end up in the bin, really. But
yeah, good night.
Very entertaining read. So.
Great to read.
Yeah,
Great
thanks,
to read.
fellas.
I think that Hughes put half the reason he's in the bin is like, great. You played a great game. That's awesome. But you've now put a massive target on your back. For the next time that you have a stinker, there'll just be people piling in left, right, and centre. And maybe that doesn't concern him, but I'd be content to go, look, I smoked yous, and you won the game, so probably just let that do the talking.
I'd be happy with that.
That's probably the way to go. But anyway, each to their own. It was very entertaining to look at, that's for sure.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is as excited as I've been. Every single week, we have this run sheet, guys, and it's, we're technologically gifted here, so we've sort of got it in Google Docs, so it just sort of carries over from one week to the next, anything we don't get through, because we've got to cover so much,
Real busy.
But there's this one thing that appears in yellow that has been at the bottom of our sheet for a great deal of time. The Special Sports Showcase has. And we did a few of these like early doors and they were quality.
Yeah, they were going well.
But then, this just seems, because it's always at the bottom of the page, I swear we just never get to it because we don't chop our topics in time.
Yeah, correct.
And so the poor old Special Sports Showcase has just sat here unattended for so long has. No one's RSVP'd, but we're about to.
I wouldn't be surprised if it got cut post-production.
It was it's sneaking through.
But yes, today on the Special Sports Showcase, we are talking about Quidditch. So most people would have heard of Quidditch and many seen it played, but pretty much only on TV during the fictional Harry Potter series. So I'm one of those people as well. I'm still yet to see a game played in person. However, a family friend of mine, Jess Doman.
I feel like that would be a lot of people.
Jess actually been a part of the Queensland Quidditch team in the past. So she may have lobbied for me to either go and watch one of her games or even join the team for a match, which I should do at some stage. But you might be thinking, how can they possibly play this game in real life? Flying on broomsticks and whatnot in the movie version. But what you probably figured out is that the rules we play with here on Earth is slightly different to in the movie.
Right. Was Harry Potter not on Earth?
Well,
slightly above the Earth. Was it?
Well,
what? No,
it was on a fictional Earth, but it wasn't on a
fictional. Oh, sorry.
But,
I see what you're saying. Yeah, now I'm with you.
But anyway,
apologies for not getting that and ruining.
The real life version of the sport was played in 2005. The first game in Middlebury College in America, from my research. And in 2010, there were 46 teams competing in the Quidditch World Cup in America. Today, there are actually 26 countries that have official competitions with over 7,000 players. So it's gaining some momentum. Quite a few players out there. It's actually mixed gender, so you can have no more than 4 of one gender on the field at any one time.
Is there genuine, there's beaters and seekers and you're seeing how? I don't understand.
There are. It's actually a full contact sport. So 2 teams of 21 players. That includes some people on the bench as well. But running around in an area about half the size of a soccer field. There's one keeper to defend the goals from the 3 chasers who are trying to throw the quaffle, which is actually a slightly deflated volleyball, through one of the 3 hoops, each worth 10 points each. There are 2 beaters who use any of the 3 bludgers, which are dodgeballs, to hit the opposition players and momentarily remove them from the game. And yes, you do need to have broomsticks, and they need to be mounted between your legs, touching some part of your body at all times.
Right. It's loose.
So yeah, it's not hovering off the ground, but you have to have that broomstick between your legs. Okay. And the snitch is released after 17 minutes even.
What do you mean? There's a snitch?
Yeah, there's a snitch. That's hard to say.
We're sort of getting that.
But yeah, a bit different to the real Harry Potter snitch. It's actually a ball inside a sock, but it's attached to the pants of a runner who is neutral to either team. So not part of either team. It's just a runner who's part of the game. And there's a 1 seeker from each team that enter the field after 18 minutes and attempt to remove the sock from the snitch runner, which is worth 30 points.
I have so many questions.
This is baffling.
This is whack.
Like the movie, the team with the most points when the snitch is caught wins the game. And there's an overtime system if the game's tied as well.
My first question is, in the movie, the snitch zips around and it's rapid, and we're just tying it to some fat bloke that's running.
It might not be a fat bloke.
Yeah, but they're not picking Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, I don't think.
Well, if they had him, he's probably playing on one of the teams, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe the best athlete has to be the snitch. That's the way it goes.
Maybe.
There you go.
I was going to say, do you think with future technological advances, we can improve that system of a ball and a sock attached to a bloke? Surely you can eventually get a pretty quick little drone.
Can you just put it on a drone?
Yeah.
Snitch on a drone and then get the guy that was running to drive the drone.
Yeah, surely.
That's perfect.
Can't be far away.
All right. Well, we'll write that in. We've pretty much fixed the game.
Yeah, that's it. There's
now
an
we just need to
international
fix the flying part and we'll be right.
Yeah,
that can't be that hard.
There is an international Quidditch association that holds World Cups every second year in a different country each time. But if you want to get involved, there are tournaments hosted weekly in most areas. So I reckon the 3 of us should try and find a game and get involved in it, because I'd love to say I played a game of Quidditch. A big Harry Potter fan.
Wow.
Such as
I'd
myself.
have a crack.
Yeah, Renners will come.
Yeah, Renners was a big fan of Quidditch. Had him on the show early on.
Yeah, I can't remember the episode. 17, I'm going to say. Is that wrong? I reckon.
Massive chance that's wrong. That's Manu, 23. Where am I going? Has 19 maybe?
Yeah, told you.
19. Yeah,
well, it's an odd number. So I was going to say something really intelligent there.
I'd be surprised, but have a crack.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I was going to say, I'm happy to play because I've only found 2 sports in the world that I haven't been able to play thus far.
What are they?
Well, one is hula hooping.
Right.
And the second I haven't actually found yet.
Okay.
Now that I think about it.
Right.
It used to be skating, but now I'm a freak at that as well.
A freak at skating. That is a huge call. Okay, so you reckon you've just got all sports?
Yeah, so all sport. If you give me any sport, I'll be semi-reasonable at it. Okay.
I beg to differ, but sure.
Happy to test it, Skinnle. Now, Skin.
Yeah.
This is also one we haven't done for a while. We've really wound back the clock tonight, guys. Well done, everyone. Mainly our producer, Sam Haslett. Okay, this is the minute to thin it, and Skinnle just taken it. Has took it early doors. I'll tell you what has gone wrong is that it's been that long since we did it that the timer I used to use does not exist anymore. So I don't know how this one's going to go. Skinnle. Could be a very weird sound in the background, but are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I'll have a crack.
Okay, this is basically just news that we haven't had time to get through, guys. We are obviously trying to rush in the last 6 minutes. Here it is.
There are calls for Broncos to ban the word young being used in interviews and the like. Their coach, Anthony Seibold, is known for using that word a lot in press conferences, especially using it as a reason why the team has just lost the game.
Nice.
Benji Marshall was recently dropped by the West Tigers. He sits second place on the Dally M medal count, probably because he missed more tackles than anyone else in the comp. The next day, he made a fairly big error kissing a female journalist on the cheek who was at their training session. Not a mistake because his wife found out or anything like that, but because of the current biosecurity measures, meaning himself and the rest of the team need to be in lockdown now until they get tested and cleared of coronavirus.
Oh, he's flying. Look at him go.
Rabbitohs have just signed a young fullback, Joseph Suaalii, on a 3-year deal worth $1.7 million. You may not heard of him, and for good reason. He's currently only 16 years old and can't play in the NRL until he's 18, but he has already played for New South Wales underage teams in rugby league, union, AFL and basketball.
Fair effort.
To the German Bundesliga soccer, and the Dortmund coach has torn his calf while celebrating on the sideline after his team scored a 95th minute goal to beat Dusseldorf 1-0.
And that's time's up, Skinnle.
How we going? Did I just sneak in? Or?
Yeah, you actually are.
Okay.
Nice.
Happy with that.
The real issue with this timer is it didn't actually tell us when it was done. It was also very eerie sound.
Yeah, it was a bit different, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, real odd actually, I would suggest. But anyway, now it has. Oh, I better play this one more time, hey? Nope. Nope. This one. Yeah. Now, you've been calling for some reviews recently.
Yes, we have. We've been asking for some reviews on all our platforms. Wherever you listen, give us a 5-star rating and a review. And we have had a few really good ones come in lately. So thanks to those who have gave us ratings and reviews.
Magnificent. Now, do you want to read any of the really entertaining ones we've got? And I've actually got one to add too, because a guy named Luke, I don't know if you know him, but a guy named Luke has just written a review as well, just hot off the press.
Oh, unbelievable.
Okay. Quite entertaining.
Well, the one I was going to say was from Paddy Slide Dive. Not sure who Paddy is, but it's a good name. He said, you would be hard-pressed to find a single person who doesn't list the We Got the Chocolates podcast in their top 3 Redlands-based, comedy, sport-based, hybrid podcasts of all time.
that is a hard list to get into.
There's so many people in that category. There's so many podcasts in that category.
They say stay niche. Stay niche. Very good. Now, people would have seen the one also that was on social media at one stage. I haven't got it in front of me, which was a real error, but it was basically sort of about Big Spoon, Little Spoon, cuddling, staying for breakfast, this particular podcast. If I haven't done that justice, go to our social media page. It's just a plug straight away. Straight to Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, you choose. This one from Luke, guys. It goes like this. It's from the Ultimate Toilet Listener. What podcasts are good for bathroom listening, I hear you ask? The best podcasts to listen in the bathroom are easy to stop at any point with the option to pick right back up again the next time nature calls. Complicated plots or progressive in-depth analysis are out. We Got the Chocolate that provides funny twists, quick rundowns of the weekend sport, and simple storylines you won't forget between bathroom sessions. Their collection of short interviews work well because you can get through one in just a few sessions and be ready for the next one. This podcast is that good I now order my morning coffee with a double shot.
I didn't think of that being a place to listen to the podcast, but
you don't want to drop the phone in the bowl there, but as long as you are happy with your hand, then I guess no issues at all, is it really?
Yeah, fair.
Fantastic. We're happy with that, Haz?
Yep.
Okay, and guys, that is the conclusion of another We Got the Chocolates episode 48. Thank you very much for being with us. Now continue to be with us. Just because you're not listening to the podcast, we still need you to liaise with us throughout the week. First of all, wherever you choose to listen to us, whether it be Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn or Google Podcast, find a way to subscribe there so you don't miss an episode. Also, if you have any way of rating or leaving a review, as you've just heard, that is always much appreciated and it gets you on the podcast as well. Where can people get in contact with us, Skinnon?
Through most forms of social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, etc. And if you're struggling to find any of those, just jump onto the website at wegotthechocolates.com.au. You'll be able to leave us a little form submission, or you can always email us as well, hello@wegotthechocolates.com.au.
And record, even use the speak pipe to record your voice if that's easier for you.
Yeah, and that's not strictly for tote nominations.
That's
either.
right.
You just leave us a voicemail message, we'll get you on an episode.
I was about to say, what other things can we get from people? We know tote nominations is one.
Yep, merchandise is another one. Lee and Mitch wearing the jumpers. Lee's also got the hat on. I don't have anything on at the moment, but there are also
Griffith the uniform.
There are also plenty of t-shirts and beanies and stickers out there, just to name a few.
Outstanding. Guys, we definitely would love to hear from you. Any funny stories that you have throughout the week, we certainly love talking to you and we love talking about you. So do stay in touch with us, please. And we look forward to being with you again this time next week. Thank you so much, guys.
Stumps.
That stumps.
That sneaks in.